Let's just call it like it is. Bad acting in a show is like a gorilla in your bedroom. You're gonna notice. I know, Cousin Mikey, you'll say, what a thoroughly original idea. But hear me out, okay? With the number of new shows, series, and streaming services available, the pool of talent and opportunity for actors is greater than at any previous point in production history. Now, as great as that is, it does mean a potential drop in acting talent made available for original content. Netflix has produced 1,500 original titles since 2013, and that's an average of 150 every year. It seems that their approach is much like that one friend everybody had in college with the square wheels. Quantity over quality. They can't all say no, man. With this current rate, it's impossible for great or even just good actors to be available for work, which means you may have missed one or two titles that are worth watching. Looking to compete with the success of the Tom Clancy series on the other side, Netflix released its Kmart Jack Ryan a few months ago. The Night Agent. It's a captivating story based on the book of the same name by Matthew Quirk about a legacy FBI agent, Peter Sutherland Jr., trying to make his way through terrorist plots, scandals, and political corruption. You follow Peter in the aftermath of a train bombing that he single-handedly stopped when he's placed on the night action unit, tucked away in the basement of the White House, waiting for a distress call from night action agents that never come. That is until the titular female character Rose Larkin calls following the murder of her aunt and uncle who happen to be agents for the secret FBI program. Peter and Rose's journey plays out in a bodyguard meets House of Cards political action thriller. Because Peter's father, a former FBI agent himself, was accused of selling trade secrets and died before clearing his name, Peter becomes entangled in a web of conspiracy and becomes suspect numero uno throughout much of the plot. It's a typical unlikely partnership story as Peter and Rose fight, run, and solve their way through many of the mishaps, murders, kidnappings, and assassination attempts throughout the show. Peter, the archetypal young, idealistic FBI agent and protector, and Rose, the former head of a cybersecurity company and stereotypical rags-to-riches protectee. The story is fascinating, the action scenes shot well, no shaky cams or super fast cuts, so you're able to enjoy the choreographed violence. The conspiracy theories are for the most part well thought out, in part because it's based on a book. I certainly wouldn't trust no new-age Hollywood modern writers to come up with something half as clever. Character decisions seem to make sense and follow logical reasoning based on each of their past experiences, and you're never upset at the actions of the characters for the wrong reasons. Unfortunately, though, Netflix couldn't get all the pieces right, as there are some typical issues with The Night Agent. Most notably, the casting. Gabriel Basso, who plays Peter, is relatively unknown, with his biggest success coming as a child actor 12 years ago in Super 8. Gabriel does a phenomenal job with Peter. He's a character that you come to like and root for almost instantaneously. He's kind, professional, patriotic, silent, and strong, but with a history that haunts him. Gabriel's portrayal perfectly captures that of a young and idealistic agent struggling with the sins of his father and the determination of a person to do some good for his country, even when that means putting his own legacy on the line. He really brought the character to life, and unlike most modern stories, he doesn't start out as perfect. Peter makes mistakes, errors in judgments, and finds opportunities to learn and for growth. This allows audiences to connect with him, and to grow with him, and to root for him even when his judgments are wrong. The rest of the main cast is pretty much flaccid from there, with weak or monotonal deliveries, lack of emotion, and overacting. Lucienne Buchanan, who plays Rose Larkin, does an alright job with the character, but too often her lines are over-delivered, comedic sense and timing isn't there, or it's completely off. And as is common now, Rose is absolutely perfect at everything she does. From being able to easily hack her way through government agency securities, to solving puzzles within seconds, and even having no hesitation over committing acts of violence, or even murder in some cases, despite the fact she was a civilian only a few days ago. Even her bankruptcy and the loss of the company at the beginning of the show is due to other people's errors and treachery, rather than any mistakes made by Rose. With her failures in comedic relief and awkward delivery of empathy-inducing stories, it does become difficult to cheer for her character. Rose is already amazing, with hardly any flaws, so audiences are unable to relate. The most notable actors in the series are D.B. Woodside, who plays Agent Monks, a senior agent in the Secret Service recovering from addiction after taking a bullet saving the former president, and Robert Patrick as the deputy director of the FBI. But he doesn't make it past the second episode. D.B. Woodside puts in another great performance, but his scenes are always hindered by his partner and junior agent Chelsea Arrington, played by Fola Evans Akimbola. Fola is carried through each scene by Woodside, and her portrayal of an up-and-coming, no-nonsense agent comes off as trying too hard and frankly quite off-putting. Peter's biggest advocate and the president's chief of staff, Diane Forrest, played by Hong Chow, whose delivery falls flatter than the cans of Bud Light now sitting unsold in every bar in Alabama. Her monotone and robotic delivery almost becomes comical in its ability to take away from the gravity of each situation. And it just wouldn't be a modern production if we didn't have some nondescript, bumbling male character villains. The only reason Diane is a baddie in this one is due to the failures of discount Peter Gallagher over here. Diane needs to be reluctantly pulled into the evil plot and forced into a cover-up only after the fact. just out of the desire and her need to protect the president. For some reason, writers are still reluctant to actually put an original female antagonist on screen, which, had it been done right in this case, would have provided a far better villainous story. At times, the night agent can fall victim to some classic action thriller tropes. Robert Patrick is often known for playing the baddie, so he's the obvious first suspect in the conspiracy, which means he, of course, is not actually in on it. Monks is whacked. In the same episode, we find out he actually has a daughter that he hardly sees, but he's got a chance of restoring the relationship. And the always classic, the assassins chasing Rose and Peter don't break a sweat, often two experienced agents in the first episode, but they spend the remainder of the show being outwitted and outgunned by the new guy and a 5'0" computer nerd. Worst of all, Diane Farr is Peter's biggest advocate, but because the show is laden with tropes, right from episode 1, it's quite obvious that she is in fact the brains behind the conspiracy. So when the twist is revealed, it's about as surprising as a vegan, unprompted, letting you know they're a vegan. Tropes and robotic delivery aside, The Night Agent is a thoroughly fun show that can be watched in one sitting or several weeks. The story will not only keep you intrigued, but have you coming back, and it's entirely worth it to see my boy Gabriel Basso flourish as Peter. The amount of shows available now rivals only the infinite number of cheesy pickup lines in Uncle Sal's creepy portfolio. It's expected that you and I will miss out on a few good ones, and The Night Agent is a certain contender for being one of the best you can easily miss. My advice? Switch off. Enjoy the action scenes, the conspiracy, some obvious and not so obvious plot twists, the lame jokes and delivery, but mostly enjoy the connection you'll make with Peter Sutherland Jr. What do I know? If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't, thank you for watching. See you next time.